What if I were to tell you there was a mushroom that could improve natural levels of energy, promote motivation, focus, bolster against stress, and even help shift the neural pathways in our very brains? I know it may sound far-fetched, but I truly believe this mushroom can support conditions of ADD and ADHD. For over a decade, I've been personally working with this mushroom with myself and in the lives of my clients. From cultivation and extraction to sampling a lot of the different products out there and even exploring ways it can be applied into human health and wellness, this wild mushroom is truly amazing and may even be supportive for conditions of ADHD and ADD. And it might not be the one that you're thinking of. So many people often turn to lion's mane as the major player in the mushroom world for its brain-boosting nootropic abilities, but there's another mushroom out there, a very wild mushroom, that may help support some of these conditions that I'm talking about. It's often found growing in the wild on insects, and hundreds of species of this fungus parasitize various insects, and it is very remarkable just to see how it interacts in nature. But we're looking at a more domesticated species, Cordyceps militaris, a mushroom that can now be cultivated commercially and does not need to break any vegan vows in the process. When I started exploring natural ways to support my own conditions of ADHD and attention deficit, I began to explore the work of Gabor Mate, who's a leading voice in psychology of ADD and ADHD.
There's no proof whatsoever that medications help anybody heal from ADHD. I never bought into the idea this is a genetic disease or that it's a disease at all, genetic or otherwise. Now, as for the rising number of people being diagnosed with it, there could be two reasons, at least. One is we're better at diagnosis, so before we wouldn't have noticed it, but now we are. Or genuinely, there's more people who are having trouble in certain ways, such as with attention and impulse control and so on.
In other words, we are not slaves to our genetic destiny. Your genetics and conditioning do not need to completely define you. You are among many who are trying to adapt to an ever-accelerating world of information and harmful cultural conditioning that is becoming an ever-increasing challenge to adapt to. If ADD and ADHD are becoming more and more normal, what is normal itself? In my earlier years, I suffered from rampant symptoms of ADD, ADHD, anxiety, crippling depression, and I turned to natural medicine, and I'm forever grateful that I did. I've also helped numerous clients who have had dependencies on Adderall and Ritalin find greater peace through natural remedies, Cordyceps being one of my favorite. I believe there is hope in turning to natural remedies as support in shifting our behaviors, but these remedies require us to do effort alongside them. This is why herbalists typically claim that they are working with certain herbs versus simply taking it, like a drug. It may be a process that asks more of you than simply taking something to change the symptoms, and may ask that you exercise a bit of patience and self-compassion. It takes time to form new habits, but from personal experience, I can attest to it being worth it in the end. I found it is that internal peace that is the antithesis of that ADHD and ADD buzz, both internally and externally, that's happening. There is so much noise in this world that it's hard to actually find our internal voice and where to actually focus our attention and intention. When I first encountered this mushroom, I was working long hours through the night in a hospital laboratory. The late, early hours of the morning were so mundane, and it was just like the perfect playing ground for my wandering attention and symptoms of ADD to take over. I worked with Cordyceps mushrooms and felt that not only did I have this great naturally occurring energy, but I felt calm and invigorated at the same time. I could then use this inner calm to get through the night shift and work a bit more effectively. It no longer felt so difficult to be up working at 3 a.m. in the morning on CSF samples. So here are 4 evidence-supported ways that Cordyceps can help improve your focus, help decrease the noise, and help with symptoms of ADHD. First, the dopaminergic response. A study in 2010 found that Cordyceps militaris extract promoted a gene known as tyrosine hydroxylase, or TH gene, in rat populations both in vivo and in vitro. This protein has a direct connection with the dopaminergic response, leading scientists to believe that Cordyceps militaris may have the ability to upregulate dopamine and potentially offer neuroprotection. Many studies have been done to show dopamine's role in motivation response, seeking evaluation, and value learning. These are some of the pathways specifically targeted by pharmaceutical treatment of ADHD. This potential source of motivation has been reported anecdotally by my clients and members within the mushroom community as feelings of available energy. Drive and focus are incredibly important in working with symptoms of ADHD in which a lack of impulse control is seen. If we can work with a natural form of motivation, perhaps we can start to garner a little bit more drive, attention, and focus towards where we intend it to go versus the stimulus where we are, more taken over by what that stimulus is. Second, it can produce natural energy. So two of the primary compounds found within Cordyceps militaris, cordycepin and adenosine, are thought to be the source of vitality that we find from this mushroom. Along with a plethora of other health benefits that cordycepin offers, its similar structure to adenosine, which is the precursor molecular basis of energy in the form of ATP or adenosine triphosphate. So a 2001 study confirmed that cordyceps enhances cellular energy in the form of ATP. I myself and countless others report a boost in this feeling of natural energy. Different to that of stimulants, this mushroom may directly influence the production of the molecular unit of energy itself. Next, cordyceps does exhibit adaptogenic properties, and I know a lot of people throw around the term adaptogen because it's such a highly marketable term. So let's unpack it a little bit so we can actually better understand what that means. So adaptogens are defined by leading herbalists as normalizing. It may increase tolerance to mental exhaustion and enhance attention and mental endurance, especially in situations where there's this decreased performance, like stress. There's a sense of balance and the ability to resist fatigue with adaptogens. A few very famous ones are Panax ginseng, Rhodiola rosacea, and Schizandra chinensis. Cordyceps falls into this category as being potentially able to improve mental endurance and attention. It helps with focus and its ability to bolster the body against stressors, which is a key element to being an adaptogen. In Chinese medicine, this mushroom is said to have both yin and yang nourishing qualities, and this can be seen in its adaptogenic properties, in that it helps bolster against stress, but also helps improve levels of natural energy. This ability to stay grounded and focused when confronting stressors may help provide a greater sense of peace and agency, providing a better foundation to send your attention where you want it to go versus where it's being pulled. Finally, cordyceps have been demonstrated to have antidepressant effects, promoting the expression of BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. BDNF is currently being explored not only in being able to help promote antidepressant effects, but for improving conditions of neuroplasticity in the brain. We have left the old notion that the brain stops developing at the age of 20. Neuroplasticity is literally the brain's ability to change shape and therefore new neural pathways, which can form new behaviors. The remarkable cordyceps mushroom can be a significant source of support for helping improve natural energy levels, promote motivation and focus, bolster against stress, and even help shift neural pathways. Like anything, change doesn't happen from simply taking something. Build a practice or a ritual around working with it. Fitness or meditation, things like that have been well documented to help support greater focus and mindfulness and can work very, very well in tandem with cordyceps. If you're interested in learning more about cordyceps dosing and ways it can help improve your life, simply click the link below and download a free mushroom monograph that I've created for you, free of charge. And it helps display some of these different facts, some of the different scientific literature, and a little bit of the different artistry that I have found through cordyceps.